Okay, you're welcome. Let me prepare this. Okay, so we're going to try to create a little project that uses libcwd, the C++ debugging support library version 2. Big difference with version 1, I think, is that this version 2 uses the MIT license, so everyone can use it for whatever you want, basically. Let's make a directory here called hello project. Going to make a project in it. We're going to use cmake because yeah, I wouldn't even know how to do it without cmake using libcwd. Version 1 I think is still kind of supported GNU auto tools, but well, that's horrible, so might as well just always use cmake. And then of course for that we need a cmake lists.txt. And well, if you don't know what to put in it here, then you should actually read documentation of cmake itself. But we could, for example, look at the source code of libcwd, because that does come with an example project. And then if you look at the example project, it has also a cmake list, of course. So we would copy it from here. We could get something like start with the cmake minimum required, and then a project. Well, let's call this one hello, and that's very basic. And then here we put, for example, demonstration project. That. The rest of the example project assumes you use the everything, which we'll do in the end, right? But right now I want to show how to use libcwd pure without any other Git submodules. In that case, we just need to do a cmake find package for libcwd, and we have an add subdirectory source. We're going to put the source in it, source of the project. And then this is all. We define the minimum version for cmake itself, and you define the version and then a description for the project, give it the name. And we tell it that we are going to need libcwd, or need, there is no required here, so it tries to find it, and then the rest is in the directory source. So let's add that as well, market directory source. And then we also need, of course, a cmake list of text in source. And what we put in there is, well, we can find that back, for example, I think, and let's go to the website of version 2, and for example we can look at quick reference, and that says well, we can click on install, and then install has an example, I think. Wait, sorry, what was it? No. Yeah, I don't think the install has an add executable, so I was misguided here. No, this is for the, sorry, that is just for if you want to find the target. So it does talk about the target. The native target to link with is libcwd CW, made available with a find package. So we do need a find package, but we already had that. Yes, I mean, just added that to the cmake-list.txt file in the root of the project. But this is the information that that is in the install file. So, okay, in the end we're going to need, I'll just type it in then, add executable. Let's call that hello, because, well, let's call the file also hello. And then we need to link that with target link libraries, hello, link that with and that thing. And this can also be found in this was the install file, so the quick reference using libcwd with a new project at the bottom. It also says it here, I think, yeah. So if you're not using cwds, then you need to link with this target, and you need the find package. And then also the reference via the reference manual. It's via getting started, and then preparation, and that just, you know, this is with cwds, this is without. So that just points to the install file. We already saw that. But it's findable, and well, that's the only thing you need. But what if your project does not have libcwd installed? Then this wouldn't work, so it must be made conditional. So let's say if target exists, then we link with that. Otherwise we don't have any link. We link with nothing else, so it can just skip the whole target link library. So this is the whole file that we need in the source. Then we get we have to add the program itself, hello.cpp. Let's put in it the example from the tutorial, just the first one, hello world tutorial. So we copy this first example here, put it in here, remove the spaces that I copied. It says here that really you should not really include this. You want it to be a local debug.h file, but well, we're using a raw libcwd now, so then this would be the header that you need, and that then will define everything else, or all of the pink stuff here, or what is it, purple. Okay, I think that's all. So now we can configure our project. I'll use the environment variables. So let's say we set the environment variable repo root to, well, that's the repository root, and that's the current directory, present working directory. And then I use a build there usually, so I set build there to the same thing. Repo root, but not quite. The build behind it, so that's out of source build, because now the build there is a non-existing thing yet, you know, in the parent here, so in temp. And you set I said cmake-config. I use that usually. And let's set it to debug. Compiling everything in debug while developing. And then we do cmake source file. Okay, the source is in repo root. Build directory is in build here. And then you have to tell what the cmake build type is. So I used cmake-config as variable there, but it's just debug. And then let's make it a little silent, more silent. I think that is for both is the default. I'm not even sure. So I don't want the voice built. And we do want to have as many debug messages from cmake itself. So I set debug level of the message level to debug for cmake itself. And now we have it configured. And then building it, you can also use cmake to build it. So cmake build directory is that again, of course. In this case, not necessary because I use a single target thing. I just use GNU make. But if you would be on a multi-target, if you would using a multi-target thing, then I think you have to also pass the config here. So let's do that. And then we can build in parallel, for example, passing the number of processors I have. And that compiled it in the build here source hello world. Cool. Okay, let's add a little extension to source hello.cpp. Let's print out the version that we have. If def cwd, so this is pure debug code, so you don't want that if we compile without debug code. I'm going to fill the variables major, minor, and reversion. In here, libcwd get version. It's a brand new function that fills in these variables. And then we can print it. Also do the debug channel notice. Why not? Let's say cwd version is your minor. What am I doing? Vision. Right, so the only thing that was changed now is hello.cpp, so we can just rebuild it. Actually, if you change something that would need a reconfigure, you can also just run rebuild because it uses dependency checking and it knows when it has to reconfigure. So we just have to do the configure thing only once. So let's rebuild it. I can run it again, and now it prints also the version, which is yay 2.0.0. So I did find the correct one. Now, where did it get it from? Here. I have it installed already in /user local. If that was not the case, for example, I delete this. Probably need to be root for that. Now, of course, it won't find it. So if now I try to build it again, I don't think that is going to reconfigure it again because, well, that's something in user local change. Yeah, it will just fail to link, I think. No, also not, because we removed the cmake files. So link, everything will just work still. Didn't delete enough. Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, they picked that up, apparently. Now, this is it seems to be a quite confusing error, unfortunately. Oh, interesting. Still, yeah, okay. So there is no debugging library anymore, apparently, even though it did not reconfigure it, though. I mean, maybe it's not very useful to look at this. Let's reconfigure, see what the errors are then. Configure it. Now it says could not find libcwd, and then it rewrote the build system to our build directory. Now we try to build it, you get the same errors. Oh, okay. So the reason now is that we did simply include libcwd debug.h, which of course you should not do. It's always possible that your users do not have libcwd installed. We want to take that into account. So the first error I have here is that should not only put it around here, but even here. If you included a role, then you need an and if around it. And then we get other problems, I think. Make build. Yeah, now it doesn't know what the namespace debug is. Well, that's basically because this is not defined. Debug should be defined now as an empty macro, really. So what we should do is something like else include, and then let's call that no debug.h. And then, well, no debug.h with between double quotes would be automatically picked up from the source directory because that's where the current CPP is in. I'm also interested in what happens if we put, say, no debug.h here, just empty, and in the root of the project. It doesn't find it, yeah, because, well, it did find previously. Oh, wait a minute, it doesn't. Never mind. No. In this case, it is no looking in the root of the directory at all. So let's move this simply to a source. I think that's the most simple thing. And we have to put stuff in it. And the stuff that we have to put in it should be listed somewhere here. And to be honest, example project should mention it. But maybe it's just debug here. No. Oh, we have, of course, sorry, it says using cwds, and we are still not doing that. So, yeah, no, example project is not really useful here because we try to do everything ourselves without using this submodule here. But I'm pretty sure there is a file. Let's look for no. I think it's also called no debug.h. Yep. It's in the root of the source directory. This lists what we need. So I can just copy this. It's in the root of the source tree of libcwd. So you can copy that to our local debug no debug.h. And now I think it should compile again. Yep. And then of course you don't get any output because we only wrote to debug channels. So I run this again. Here, nothing. But okay. But yeah, we of course we do want to link with the libcwd here, and I just remove the thing from /user local. So let's go to the next step, and now use gitache to get libcwd. That is documented on the gitache webpage. Usage. Add to cmake list.txt of the main project after the project line the following. Okay, let's copy this. After the project line. Let's add some comments around it. This is not correct. We need an include here. Otherwise, fetch content is not even known. Fetch content. So this is the gitache stanza if you do not use the cmake-aicxx submodule, which we will use later on. Which makes this a little bit shorter. Furthermore, we need nothing, I think. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So now it should be able to now it will use well, no, it's not true, sorry. We need to tell gitache. Let's try to configure it. If you try to configure it now, it says okay, we have gitache disabled because the root is not set. We need to set the root, of course. Yeah, sorry. So gitache root, well, let's set that to temp. Wait. Temp. Gitache. I think it does exist. Otherwise, you get an error. So let's create a thing. But it still won't work. Nope, gitache root is not set. Do I have to export it? Totally have to export it. Okay, so now it says that directory does not exist. Because you have to tell gitache, we have to add configuration for gitache itself, otherwise it doesn't know where to find libcwd. The only thing we added is that it must use this package, but well. So add this directory, make a dir -p, and then in the directory we need to add a file called libcwd, just the package name, .cmake, And in there we have to put let's see if we can find that here as well. Let's say reference manual, getting started, configuration, and then how to configure libcwd when using gitache. And there it says that you have to create this file, which are now making, and this is what should be in it. However, I did not release gitache yet. Sorry, libcwd yet. So instead of this URL, let's use let me use an URL that is local. Oh wait a minute, this is a nonsense. Wait a minute, I'm confused. This is yeah, okay. So let's use this URL here. Just local, pointing at my local repository. Well, normally, of course, you would get it from GitHub as soon as I pushed. That was the configuration of gitache. So there was two things. You added this stuff here, and you add a configuration file for that. Where to get libcwd and what tag to use. In this case, I just use the master branch. Now we should be able to configure it. And you see it is doing stuff. The stuff that it's doing is it downloads libcwd and configures it and compiles it and installs it, but it doesn't really install it. It installs it in your gitache directory. Yeah. So some hash that is making sure that the configuration is encoded in the path. And then we can build it. Where's my build? Here's a build. And now it should work. I mean, now we're using the libcwd that was installed in gitache here. Let's run it again. And it works again. We have debug output. So that was gitache. Now last step is to add support for cmake-aicxx and cwds. The cwds is a so-called aicxx submodule, of which I have loads of them, and they all follow more or less the same magic mantra or whatever to get them installed. You just have to install them as a git submodule in the root of the project. So if you do that, let me open URL here. There's this general instructions, and then we should have to replace XYZ with the cwds, and then we get just add the submodule. But of course I have also documentation for cwds directly. This is from the cmake-aicxx already. I would rather start at the URL of the cwds here. Adding the cwds submodule to a project. So that then points to where we just came from. It says the project should already be set up to use cmake-aicxx. And we get back where you were, and that then says, well, Actually, we are not. Now we are on the README. Before we were in the usage README. Okay, I just need this line here. So we clone, or we add this cmake-aicxx submodule in the directory cmake/aicxx. Add it to the, yeah, there. Oh, you can only do that if it is already a Git project. So we add this, and then you can go back to the instructions. That also requires us to copy the autogen.sh and run that once. And then you can add it to your project as well, whatever. Commit it. And then we can go back. Now we have the cmake-aicxx. So now we add also the cwds. And then we have both. So we have the cwds submodule now, and the other one was added in the cmake directory here. Then we need to make changes to the cmake list text file. We're going to replace the find package. You no longer need a find package here. Instead, we use include cmake-aicxx. That's what you just installed. Projects. And then we add here no policy scope. Don't ask. Having that included, then we can say declare aicxx submodules. And that's another include. aicxx submodules. That finds all the aicxx submodules in the project, and that is currently only one, just cwds. We do need a little bit more, but let's just skip that and see what errors we get. So if we stop here and we try to reconfigure again. And well, that just works. And now we get this stuff here. Looks nice. It says configuring project hello. The build type is set to debug, and enable debug is on by default. libcwd is found here, version 2. And well, because we can, we also turn on by default that we are going to use libcwd. And it tells us what the namespace debug is that we are going to use, which is this thing. You can override that, but described in the manual of reference manual libcwd, so I won't go into that, but the default debug is fine. No, so to build it. All kinds of errors. I'm not sure if I want, or maybe I'm going to change this actually, but right now it says if your project is written for libcwd version 2, then it must define this macro. And it must define it at all times, so you can either put that on the command line, compiler command line, cxx flags, or you can put it in sys.h, because that should be included now in every source file, because we're using cwds, that still requires that. Let's do that. So just add an sys.h here in the root. It should be in the root of the project, and we add that define. Oops, I forgot what the define was, of course. Well, no, I don't really get it, but this is faster anyway. And we have to include here libcwd, cwds debug.h. So sys.h. Without this file in the root, it would include sys.h already anyway, but then we don't have that. But for that reason, it would be sufficient to add this as an define, compiler define for your project as well. But I think it's a good thing to have the sys.h. And then of course you have to include it, because if you compile it now, they'll just have an unused header here. So I'm going to do source hello.cpp and then add include sys.h, and this can be replaced with include debug.h. And then you can add a debug.h to the root of your project, but we don't need to put anything into it. So this one, just like the sys.h, will by default pick up the debug.h from cwds, which is doing what I just deleted. And maybe more, I don't know, but just, you know, don't worry about it. Debug imp header. Let's try to compile it again. Okay, that's interesting. I'm a little bit baffled here. sys.h node file directory. Yeah, of course. We are linking with the wrong thing. And normally it would find this thing by looking in the root, and it only looks in the root for headers if you link with cwds, but we are still not linking with that. So we also have to edit this and say, we do no longer link with this. We don't need to worry about the target either. Instead, we now link with well, cmake-aicxx, cwds, but that might not exist. So then you have to target. You need to target again. It's much better to just use this at all times, which then also automatically includes any other aicxx submodule that was found. In this case, this will just be equal to the aicxx cwds thing, and be empty if you don't have libcwd installed. So it did reconfigure and then build it. And then everything should work again. Can run it and it just prints the same thing. Beep. So that was all. So to summarize the last changes again, we have changed in order to get cwds. We replaced the find package with this include and this include. And for that, of course, we needed to install or add the cmake-aicxx submodule at this place. And we changed here. You no longer link with libcwd :cwd, but we link with this. And that was all the changes we needed for using cwds. Okay, that concludes this demonstration.